So in terms of focusing on accelerating change, with publishing the gender pay gaps, a lot of people wanted to call it naming and shaming. We have not used that language, and we don't, because we actually see this is about transparency and accountability. And we've said to employers, this is an opportunity for you to step into a space and own it rather than try and hide and withdraw. And it's actually in stepping into that space and saying, okay, we know what's driving it and we've got a plan. And by the way, next year when we publish, I think the interest is going to be not on the absolute, which it was the first year, but on the difference. What's changed in the last 12 months? How have you improved? And those things you told us last year that you were going to do, have you done them? And what impact has it had? So in terms of accelerating change with employers, the policy is very much about how do we continue to keep feet to the fire with transparency and accountability. But really, it's for the employers and particularly their leaders and the ones who are appearing on the TV or the radio or in the newspaper to say, this is what I said I'd do, this is what I've done, and this is the impact it's having. And by the way, it's working. So that's the plan in terms of why publishing gender pay gaps is going to accelerate change. So in terms of the impact, there's no doubt we've got enhanced engagement, enhanced focus on improving gender equality in the workplace. We've got senior leaders, directors, leadership engaged because there's now a reputational issue in relation to performance in terms of their gender pay gaps. It is then permeating all the way down through the organisation. So the result is we do see improvements. We see increased engagement of and understanding about why gender equality is beneficial, why having diverse boards is important, why having diverse executives and diversity all the way through the organisations. So we're achieving the outcome that we hope to, but there's still a long way to go. And many of these things don't shift overnight, but there's momentum, acceleration, focus, knowledge and understanding. So, all of that's helping to drive the change. We have some remaining recommendations that we are working on in terms of the impact, and particularly an expectation of for larger companies that they will not only report to WGEA, but actually the Act will require them to take some action. And that is through setting targets. We know targets work in terms of making improvements. So setting some targets in relation to their gender equality performance and then reporting against and meeting those targets. So it is a shift in remit from WGEA being an agency that people report to, and the Act requiring that to actually requiring action to be taken as well. So we see that as an important evolution on that road to accelerating change. And there's further work at the moment. The Act only defines men and women, and we know that there's many more aspects of gender than the binary, and so we want to be able to collect that data so that everyone's included in the work that we do, and that'll enable have to think carefully, but doing gender pay gaps and looking at that a bit more broadly than just between men and women as well. And there's some broader work to think about broader diversity data as well. Beyond the review and the Act, the other thing that we've got to do and that we have enhanced is the way we work alongside employers to drive change. And so, that's less the policy context than the application of it. But I think, what is so important when you think about policy development is, the implementation is fundamental to the success. And so for us, that has meant, not only getting the policy setting right, but also making sure we as an agency are equipped to support employers to be able to be successful in the context, really understand, do the gender pay gap analysis, put in place an action plan and understand how to make those, composition, pay and cultural changes that need to actually have a more gender equal workforce.